This conference will now be recorded.
And in conjunction with the guidance and provisions provided by the Governor of Texas and the Declaration of Disaster and subsequent executive orders altering certain Open Meetings Act requirements and ordering that gatherings of more than 10 people shall be avoided. The Historic Preservation Board of the City of Denison, Texas will conduct the meeting scheduled at 12 p.m. on Tuesday, June 2nd, 2020 by video teleconference in order to advance the public health goal of limiting face-to-face meetings, also called social distancing, to slow the spread of the coronavirus, COVID-19. There will be no in-person public access and a quorum will not be physically present. The public toll-free dial-in number to participate in the meeting by telephone is 1-866-899-4679. Access code 174-255-069#. A recording of the meeting will be made and will be available to the public in accordance with the Open Meetings Act upon written consent. With that done, I'm calling the meeting to order. Ms. Stearns, would you like to call the roll?
Yes. Chair George Mason.
Present.
Vice Chair Linda Anderson.
Present.
Jennifer Knott.
Present.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, that being done, we'll move on to the items for individual consideration. Citizens may speak on action items listed on the agenda. A request to speak card should be completed and returned to the city clerk or board secretary prior to the board reaching this section of the agenda. Citizen comments are limited to 3 minutes, unless otherwise required by law. Comments related to public hearings, if any, will be heard when the specific hearing is called. Do we have anyone who filed to speak to the board?
No, we haven't received any cards or any emails.
Okay.
Do we need to approve the minutes? This is Linda.
I'm sorry, what was that?
George, do we need to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
Right, that's what I'm going to work up to next.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, on item A of the agenda, part 3, when we receive a report and hold a discussion and take action on the minutes from the May 19th, 2020 meeting. Any discussion or comments? None. There being none, would someone like to make a motion that we accept those?
I make a motion. Linda. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Oh, this is Jennifer Knott. I move that we approve the minutes from Tuesday, May 19th, 2020.
This is Linda Anderson, and I second the motion.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye, with Jennifer.
This is Linda Anderson. Aye.
And Chairman George, aye. Those opposed? There being none, then we will accept the minutes as written. We're going to move on now to section 3C to receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on the removal of metal facade cover at 208 West Main, Denison, Texas, case number 2020-023H. Mr. Medina, do you want to address this or?
Yes, sir. This is item 2020-023H. The applicant is requesting the removal of a metal facade cover, which encompasses the entire Main Street side of the building. We recommend approval. The applicant will also be conducting any miscellaneous and minor repairs to the underlying facade as needed. Of course, in relation to or with regard to our current guidelines. Here's the existing building. The applicant is also working closely with our Denison Development Alliance on a program to help get the facade removed. Here's another exhibit. Present for any questions that you may have, and we recommend approval.
Any questions?
This is Linda Anderson. I move to approve the removal of the existing metal facade cover and associated minor repairs at 208 West Main as presented.
We have a
This is Jennifer. This is Jennifer Knott, and I second that motion.
All in favor?
This is Linda Anderson. Aye.
Jennifer Knott, aye.
George Mason, aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, then we will, what's the proper term for this bill? We approve the,
Yes, sir, we approve the removal of the facade, and then I'll be drafting up a certificate of appropriateness and getting that over to the applicant within a matter of days.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, we'll go on to item 3B. Receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on a determination of demolition by neglect for the property located at 207 West Main Street, case number 2020-024H. Mr. Medina?
Thank you. So if you recall, at our last meeting, we briefly discussed having this item on our radar and coming before you to get additional information. And so that's what we're going to do for you today. So let me just run through some information. I have some slides and we'll answer any questions after that. Due to the severely deteriorated nature of the subject property, we believe this location qualifies to be considered demolition by neglect, and I'll get into more of what that actually means here in a second. Various deteriorated aspects and features render the building a hazard to pedestrians within the adjacent public right-of-way, so along the sidewalk. So to preserve the historical integrity of the building and character of the Main Street, staff would like to take additional action on bringing the building into compliance. Our code compliance department has notified the owner in writing on 3 separate occasions, which is outlined in the staff report, concerning the condition of the building. And then our team here in Historic Preservation, Kimberly and myself, we've sent another letter as well to the applicant.
Mr. Medina, this is Linda Anderson. From the photographs, it's clear that you and probably Mr. Lay had access to the interior of the building. Were there issues with acquiring that?
No, ma'am. The shop owner gave permission to Mr. Robert Lay to go inside and take a look.
Perfect.
So here's the aerial of the building outlined in yellow. So a little bit about demolition by neglect, just so that way we're all clear on what that means and anybody listening in has a better understanding of what that is as well. To be clear, the city isn't proposing to demo the building or anything of that sort. So here's the definition that we pulled from the ordinance, and it really focuses on the preservation of the building. In short, the building is in such a deteriorated state and condition that it's demolishing itself, or it's falling apart on its own accord due to weather conditions being there so long. So as you can see here, it says the intent of this section is to preserve from deliberate or inadvertent neglect the exterior features of the building and structures so designated or included within the district and the interior portions thereof when such maintenance is necessary to prevent deterioration and decay of the exterior. So this definition is helpful for what we're trying to achieve because it looks at the interior and exterior as criteria for deeming something as being a demolition by neglect. I also outlined some of that criteria on the staff report. I'm sure you've had a chance to look, you'll notice letters A through G. Essentially, these are just checklists. This is a checklist that we're going to use to make our claim here that it is classified as a demolition by neglect. It includes not being watertight or being able to prevent the elements from getting into the building, potentially having debris or pieces of the building falling on the public right-of-way, flooring, roof issues, things of that sort. So I outlined here, this is the first, or one of the first photos on the front. I outlined with some yellow arrows where the brick is actually beginning to fall off of the building and starting to shift. Here's that same photo up close. You can see on the left, bricks are cracking down towards the middle. They're just falling off. Again, if it weren't for this canopy here, it would have fallen on somebody. Also, the canopy is also in very rough condition as well. Into that. And this is on the front. As you can see, extensive water damage. It's beginning to rot. This is along the front facade. You can kind of see where that sign is right there. So right above the doorway where it says computer repair. Now these are photos that Mr. Robert Lay and Betty Floyd were able to obtain for us. This is on the inside. I believe this is the east wall. So you can kind of see over, I guess it'd be on the other side. Sorry, yeah, this is the east wall. The building is starting to separate on its own.
Is it common to use toggle bolts like that to hold the building together?
I don't believe it is. Here's some additional photos. As you can see, it's literally crumbling on the inside. And we have some more water damage on one of the windows. Robert, do you know which wall this is?
That is, they're looking at the north wall. Of course, you're looking north through that window.
So this is the north wall here, so on the rear, on the alley side. The floor is starting to cave in, I guess, through water damage from this window opening. Here it appears to be some smoke or previous fire damage that was never maintained, and it's also beginning to rot, or continuing to rot rather. Here with these arrows, it's a little difficult to see through the photo, but this is extensive water damage where rain is coming in through the roof. It's the original architectural features of the ceiling here, that pressed metal. Once that's gone, you can't get that back, and it's in its original state, which is very disappointing. And the water is just kind of corroding that. As you can clearly see, there's no maintenance for the brick or the ceiling in this area. To wrap things up here, we're looking at the rear awning canopy. Sorry. Let me see if there's anything else that I didn't come to attention here. Robert, do you have anything? So again, I've included the demolition by neglect letter that we've sent to the applicant explaining what we would like to do and what our options are going forward. There is an appeal process if this body does deem it to be a demolition by neglect. And there's additional and more extensive photos in your packet. I just couldn't fit all of them on our slides today. So questions that you may have, and we recommend approval.
You have been able to reach the owner of the building?
No, sir. Robert's tried in writing and over the phone. I've tried over the phone as well. And we've sent a total of 4 letters to their P.O. box and their address that's on Grayson County. So we're trying as best we can, short of knocking on the front door of getting a hold of them.
Do we know whether or not?
I'm sorry, George, go ahead.
Is it possible the gentleman is deceased?
No, they're not deceased.
Okay. Linda?
Mr. Medina and Mr. Lay, this is Linda Anderson. I note that it's a $500 a day violation. However, there's what happens when nothing begins to happen. And in fact, it is demolishing itself. At $500 a day in fines, obviously that's going to accrue fairly quickly and not be repaid. And in fact, once a single repair is made or initiated, does that constitute action on the demolition by neglect and we then pull away?
So if we treat that like we do other minimum property standards cases, you know, for the owner to come open up a dialogue and start a plan, you know, obviously the plan to fix this is going to have to come back before this board at some point. If she or the owner is making a good faith effort, a real effort to start getting her plan together, and we know that she's got a structural engineer coming to look at this property, and that a application for HB is coming forth. I mean, no, we wouldn't continue to find her every day. That's going to be done when there's just no action being taken at all, which is where we're at now.
And can those fines be garnished?
And so there's a minimum property standards case opened on this property as well, and she has actually already been cited on 2 occasions for that, but that's a different ordinance than through the HP stuff that we're here today doing.
We have the power to garnish money if in fact the $500 is not forthcoming every day.
I mean, it's a municipal court citation essentially, so a Class C misdemeanor. So they, you know, if we write her this citation for violation of this HP ordinance, she will have the right to go to the prosecutor and talk to him about it, or get in front of the judge and discuss any citations she's given here. So as far as garnishing anything, I really don't have information about that. I don't believe that would be a possibility though.
Thank you.
What happens, this is Mr. Mason, what happens when the fines accumulate to the point where it's just about the same as the value of the building?
Robert?
I'm sorry, you'll have to repeat that.
What ultimately happens if the fines accumulated exceed the cost of the building or the value of the building? Does the city attempt to take over control of the property or what?
So that's what we were discussing here. I mean, we're really treading on something that we haven't had to experience yet, but that would be something we would have to explore with legal, what our options are if it got to that case. If we don't make any progress through our actions now, obviously we can't afford to let the building fall in on itself. So what our options are at this point regarding taking forced action to make any repairs, I don't have any concrete answers for you today.
Is this not the same situation that we had with the school up on 120? It was owned by the gentleman that was wanting to open a chess school. I know we demolished it.
No, it's not, because ultimately that building was one that we were going to demolish. We actually had a demolition order to bring that to the ground. This is not something that we want ultimately to demolish and put on the ground.
Yeah. The purpose and the goal here, there are 2 different outcomes. With that case, the goal, like Robert's saying, was to bring it down. Here, we're trying to preserve the historical integrity and character of the building, and of course, Main Street, and also to try and preserve the public safety aspect. That chess academy was kind of an open field. Here, if this continues to fall apart any further, it could seriously harm somebody.
Is there some point at which the city brings in an engineer to evaluate that building and assess how much longer it can remain standing in that condition?
I mean, at this point, that's not an action we're planning to take right now. What this designation does is it just gives us another tool to move forward with either getting it repaired or ultimately tearing it down.
Okay.
I'm sorry, George. This is Linda Anderson.
Right now.
What about the status of his property taxes, her property taxes?
They asked their current. We don't know. Bill can check if you want to know.
I can look it up right now.
I think if I were the occupant on the first floor, I'd be looking for a new place to do business.
Yeah.
So the role of the board is to determine if this property is deteriorating and it is demolition by neglect. And then staff would move forward with the tools at its disposal to stabilize the building or move in another direction. Like Robert said, either way, this will be coming back to you. So, you know, we will keep you in the loop on what happens next. But being its location is becoming a public safety issue, and we need to take some further action. So,
Thank you.
This
Any more
is Linda Anderson. I move to deem the subject property 207 West Main, Denison, Texas 75020 a demolition by neglect in accordance with section 30-12 of the City of Denison Municipal Code ordinances as adopted.
We have a
This is,
second?
this is Jennifer Knott, and I second the motion.
All in favor?
This is Linda Anderson, aye.
Jennifer Knott, aye.
George Mason, aye. Those opposed? Having no opposition votes, the motion is passed and will stand.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
We'll keep you posted.
Any other business we need to discuss here, or?
I don't have anything.
No, we're working on several different applications, so we probably be meeting in a couple more weeks.
Okay. When-
Last night, go ahead.
When is the next meeting?
It's going to be, hang on. I
Reason
have
I'm
it
asking
The
for the
16th is,
of June.
16th is a Tuesday, that's 2 weeks.
So you'll be, I think you'll all be pleased to hear this news. Last night, the council approved leasing the property across from the Denison Hotel that has all that dilapidated structures on it. And it will be coming down with your recommendation to be able to be paved into a public parking lot. So we will be preparing materials for you for the next meeting.
That's on the southwest corner of Chestnut and Burnett.
Yes, yes,
Excellent. That's
yes.
good news.
Yes.
So we will be bringing something to you, hopefully at the next meeting.
The reason I'm asking about the date, I'm scheduled for a surgical procedure on the 22nd.
Oh, okay.
Also scheduled for another procedure on the 9th. So I'm essentially going to be quarantined for the next 3 weeks.
What's
Okay, when we get off the line, we'll make sure Felicia communicates with everybody and see when we're gonna have a quorum.
Okay. Excellent.
And get that finalized.
Okay, well, I
Thank
think I
you.
call the meeting adjourned at this point, and thank you for everyone being here. And Mr. Lay and Mr. Medina and staff, thank you so much for your excellent work. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Can we-
you.
Thank you, we appreciate our being aggressive on this.
Yes. Agreed.
Have a great day. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Bye, everybody, have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Did you catch that, Bill?